For the first time in Fran Brown's coaching career, the head man has lost 2 consecutive games. And after Syracuse fell by 35 points to Duke, fans were hoping for a response in Dallas against SMU. Fran Brown's group failed to deliver on that. The Mustangs ran over the Orange 31-18. Ben, Milo, and I are here to break it all down on Orange Press Pass, which starts right now. And we welcome into our CitrusTV studios, AJ Myers, alongside Milo, Hoffman, and Ben Chadwick. Guys, another ugly defeat for Syracuse, falling to SMU 31-18. Let's waste no time and get right into it. Milo, what are your first thoughts?
Well, AJ, listen, the train is off the track. That's the bottom line. I thought Duke was bad. Only 3 points Syracuse put up. And then, sure, the score might be misleading against SMU, but the train is off the track for the entire season. Steve Angeli is out. Ricky Collins is here, and he's just shown that he cannot live up to expectations. A former 4-star recruit. So, Ben, I just think there's no way Syracuse is going to respond from this. And overall, on the landscape of the entire season, the train is just long gone.
I'm going to build off that too, Milo. The train is off the track, and get used to it if you're a Syracuse football fan too. This is your 2025 Syracuse football team the rest of the way, right? That Steve Angeli injury, this team is in shambles since then, offensively and defensively. The offense just has no idea what it's doing. The defense looks flat out embarrassing from what it looked like last week. This is your 2025 Syracuse football team, whether you like it or not.
Ben, that is not what Syracuse fans want to hear right now. So why don't we head down to Dallas and see how this one played out between the Orange and Mustangs. It was a hot one in Dallas. There are the two head coaches for the two sides. At SMU, they would lean on the run game early. TJ Harding, he would get out for a 22-yard burst. That would put SMU in Syracuse territory, and they would be held scoreless in this point from the game. Ricky Collins, though, in his own territory, would throw an interception, and that would become a theme today for Syracuse and the young quarterback, making his just second ever collegiate start. SMU would tack on a field goal. That would make it 3-0 going into the second quarter, but Kevin Jennings, he would start to work the air. The quarterback would drop back. Fran Brown was trying to hype up his team, but it wouldn't work. Jennings dropping back, finding a wide open R.J. Maryland, an easy score. It's 17-0 midway through the second quarter. Ricky Collins needs to get some momentum going for Syracuse late in this second quarter, but in the red zone, he would miss on Yasin Willis. And Milo, this would become a theme all day for the Orange.
The inaccuracy for Ricky Collins was of much concern, and on the SMU side, it's a whole lot easier when you dimp and dunk like that. A little 1-yard pass for the touchdown. SMU just made it a whole lot more simple on the offensive side.
Going into the halftime locker room, it would be 24-3 Mustangs. And how about this? Offensive assistant Josh Gaddis getting in the face of Ricky Collins. Not happy what he's seen through the QB in that first half. Second half would get really no better for Syracuse. 31-10, but Kevin Jennings had a brilliant day. He throws an interception here. Devin Carr coming away with it. Ben, Syracuse could be on the comeback train maybe.
How cool was that? Finally, the defense shows up in this game. Ricky Collins, let's take advantage of it right here. Look at that throw down the field. Intercepted by Marcellus Barnes, a former Syracuse player, so at least it is somehow a Syracuse guy catching the pass.
So just when you thought Syracuse had some momentum, it would drop. And then late in this game, Ricky Collins just going to throw up a prayer late in this one. He's looking for Will Nixon somewhere down there. It would be incomplete. Syracuse falls 31-18 to SMU. The two head coaches embracing there. And Milo, looking at the stats, it's just not pretty for the Orange.
Yeah, I mean, you got to shout out Kevin Jennings on the SMU side as well. SU could not stop him. 4 touchdowns. That's a career high for the quarterback, and TJ Harding was doing it all day long. We talked about him on Q's Countdown before this game, and he proved why he's just such a beast.
And compare those two quarterbacks too. Ricky Collins with under a 50% completion percentage. He had 1 touchdown and 3 picks. Kevin Jennings going 29 for 35 with 4 touchdowns and 1 pick. I think it's clear who the better quarterback was in this one.
And now we're thrilled to be joined by Hudson Ridley, who was down in Dallas, saw this whole game play out. And Hudson, I got to start with why Fran Brown was so aggressive on 4th down early on in this game.
Yeah, no, the main reason why he wanted to do it was simply just to get first downs. That's exactly what he said in the post-game presser. It really wasn't anything other than that. When you're on the road and you have the kind of performance you had last week on offense, you need to get something going early on. And for the Orange, that was smart. But then on the first fourth down of the game, when Yasin Willis couldn't climb over the pile, that kind of set the tempo for what the rest of the fourth down conversions would be like past that point. And Yasin Willis called not getting that unacceptable.
Thank you so much for joining us. Now, we saw receivers like Justice Ross Simmons get injured today. So I want to ask you, should running back Will Nixon be involved more in the pass game now that some guys are going down?
Yeah, potentially he should be. I think it's a bit loaded whether or not Will Nixon will be a little more involved in the offense. I think, he struggled at times today to bounce outside the tackles, so the biggest thing for him is getting him the ball in space, but you don't want to take anything away from what this wide receiver core can do. It is one of the deepest wide receiver cores in the nation. Whether or not they have a quarterback that will get them the ball, that really is the main question. But right now they have the talent, they have the depth where they can plug and play pieces without Justice Ross Simmons and not be just as good, but be relatively fine. I don't really think Will Nixon will add too much to that offense if you get him the ball more out of the backfield.
And Hudson, we watched Josh Gaddis tearing into Ricky Collins when we just went over the highlights of this game earlier. Do you have any thoughts or insight on that viral clip when Collins just simply had a blatant misread late in the first half?
Yeah, so Ricky was asked about that after the game, and he really didn't have too much to say on it. He said, I just missed a read, which was common for what he said after the game and in the post-game press conference. However, Yasin Willis did give a little bit more insight into kind of what he's been struggling with in that regard. He says he speeds up his process a little bit too much, speeds up his motion. That can get him into trouble when his brain thinks quicker. You saw Gaddis tear into him on a ball that he threw away. I think sometimes just the reads are not exactly where they need to be. And he's been staring down receivers a lot as well. That led to the incompletion to end the quarter because he kept looking and looking at one read where it was not open, and all he could do was throw it away. That's been a common problem for Ricky Collins through his first two starts. He said, I just have to be better, guys, and use this bye week to improve afterwards, but we'll see if that happens.
And thanks so much. Safe travels back up here to Syracuse, and we're really appreciating all your great reporting today. Thank you so much. Yesterday, the Syracuse community learned of the passing of Arthur Jones. Jones centered himself around as one of the best defensive linemen in Syracuse history from 2005 to 2009, along with his younger brother Chandler. Dominated the line of scrimmage in the late 2000s. Jones went on to be drafted in the 5th round of the 2010 NFL Draft and was a key part of the Ravens team that won Super Bowl 47. After retiring in 2017, Jones stayed in the Syracuse area, close to his hometown in Rochester. No matter where his career took him, one thing was always true. Arthur loved his orange. Our condolences are with his family. At this time, Jones was 39 years old. Welcome back to Orange Press Pass here in our CitrusTV studios. AJ Myers alongside Milo, Hoffman, and Ben Chadwick, recapping Syracuse's 31-18 defeat to the Mustangs, but we'll drift away from the football side for just a moment. look at some other scores around the hill today, and hey, Syracuse did really well. I think they're 4-0 right now on this graphic here. That's pretty good, guys.
Unbelievable. I mean, I want to focus on Syracuse field hockey at the top there. Won against Colgate, ranked number 5 in the nation. Now 10-2 on the season, led by Bo Von Kempen, who has 18 goals. One of the best players in the entire country. Syracuse field hockey off to an amazing start.
They are red hot right now. Probably going to keep jumping up the rankings as well as the season goes on. Syracuse women's ice hockey as well. Their second straight win after starting the season 0-2 against Minnesota Duluth. And also Syracuse volleyball. They've had some struggles to start the year. How about that 3-1 win over Virginia Tech? That is huge.
And Syracuse men's soccer as well, picking up a big win. They had lost 3 in a row. Now they're winners of 3 straight. Ian McIntyre finally picked up the most wins in program history. Now he's taking that momentum on the next couple of games.
And it was a busy day in college football. Of course, Saturday, plenty of games looking out there. And one jumping off the screen to me is Penn State falling to UCLA.
Oh, my goodness, AJ. It's like you knew to say that just to get me talking. I am appalled. Appalled at this Nittany Lions squad right now. A loss to 0-4 UCLA is bad in and of its own self, right? But allowing 42 points to that offense, led by Nico Iamaleava, is embarrassing. It is flat out embarrassing. Penn State head coach James Franklin prides himself on saying, hey, we always beat the teams we're supposed to beat. Maybe we don't always win those top 5 or top 10 games, but we always beat the teams that are worse than us. What happened today, James? What happened?
Well, how about Florida, the home side Florida Gators, beating Arch Manning and Texas 29-21. That wasn't the only upset as well. Cincinnati taking down number 14 Iowa State. That's why college football is so good. Upsets across the board.
How about Alabama, too, gaining some momentum there?
No.
A player that did not gain any momentum from his first start was Ricky Collins. Another really poor outing from him. The turnovers keep being a problem. He's had 2 picks prior to the start, and he threw a few more today as well.
He just looks uncomfortable, right? He looks like he's not a guy who's used to being back there. Now there's a reason, because he hasn't been back there. He's had limited play time as the starting quarterback, but it's been a struggle for Ricky Collins so far as the starting quarterback for Syracuse. The interceptions just keep piling up. He had 3 of them today. I know he had 2 touchdowns, but if you're adding stuff to every statistical category, that's not what you want. You want to add more touchdowns and less interceptions. He's going up in both, and I don't think that's a good recipe.
It is absolutely not a good recipe. And if we watch just a little bit after some of those highlights we just showed there, and in our highlights, as we started off the show, you saw that overthrow to Yasin Willis.
Yeah.
The receivers are sick of him. I mean, they are sick and tired of him being their quarterback.
And that's not a good thing, Ben. That is not something you want to see from your receivers getting frustrated with your quarterback.
I couldn't agree more. His accuracy and decision-making are some of the worst I've ever seen from a Power 4 quarterback. He showed some flashes late in the game, right? He did, but it was too little too late. Ricky Collins is such a worrisome quarterback for Syracuse to have.
Now, this morning on Q's Countdown, we talked about how maybe the game plan needs to shift a little, be a little bit more of a run-heavy offense. Ben, they did run the ball a lot today. They just couldn't get anything going there either.
I don't have the answer for you, too. That's the problem.
Yeah.
I do not have the answer because everyone, including myself, was calling for Jeff Nixon and this offense run the ball. I mean, I thought he should have done it with Steve Angeli in the first 4 games of the season, run the ball, and especially today and against Duke, run the ball. He did so today, and it didn't work out. Now is where you get really worried because the offense has tried everything they can possibly try. Now that none of it has worked, now is when you get terrified for the future.
Right, I was exactly with you. Syracuse just was not running the ball, and now they finally did do that here against SMU, and they were getting stuffed in the backfield. A 35% run stuffed percentage. That is off the charts. And you can see how they tried to make an adjustment there in the second half from 24 attempts to just 12. Ricky Collins did sort of pick it up there towards the end of the ball game. But overall, the running game was not successful. Well, Yasin Willis, that is, averaging under 3 yards a carry. That's not going to cut it at all.
And I think what's most frustrating is that they got the ball. In prior games, it was questioning Fran Brown, why aren't you giving these backs the ball? But Ben, today they got the ball and just couldn't get anything done. Yeah,
my biggest question when they played against Duke was why does Yasin Willis have 11 carries when he's averaging 6 yards per carry? Today he got the carries and he averaged, I think, 2.5, 3 yards per carry. And now it's where you kind of get nervous where it's like, oh, now they know what to do, but it's still not working.
It was the same thing against Duke. He had that 35-yard rush, and then other than that, he was 10 for 28 yards. yards.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the averages are not there for Yasin Willis. Sure, he could break away, he could hurdle people like he did against Duke, but he's just not gaining a lot of yards on specific plays.
And they tried to catch the ball and the receiver spots too, but Ricky Collins could not find him. And all season long, the Mustangs have lit up the scoreboard, and the hope was that Syracuse's defense would be able to control that offense. Well, that wasn't the case.
No, not at all. Syracuse is one of the worst defenses in the entire ACC, and they showed it why, right? It was another struggle against Jennings and SMU. The Mustangs are just throwing all over Syracuse. The amount of busted coverages that I saw today from Syracuse was abysmal. That's not going to cut it. You have to know where you're supposed to be on the defensive side of things, and the defense has been struggling all year long, has yet to allow, or teams have had over 300 yards in every single game.
400.
Syracuse has over 400.
400 at
Hey,
least,
against SMU, this is the least amount of yards that they've
And we're
allowed.
still talking about them like
Exactly. That's not a good sign.
this. It's not. And the defense took a turn for the worst at the also worst time, right?
Yeah.
The offense, right when it was getting hot, the defense was getting hot with them. Then the offense had Ricky Collins come in as the starting quarterback, and you think, well, at least they have the defense to possibly come in and be like, hey, we got you guys. You guys can figure it out on offense. We got you. We'll have your back on defense. They are falling apart at the worst time, and it's why Syracuse is losing these games by these massive margins.
And only one sack. I mean, sacking quarterbacks has been a challenge for Syracuse all year long. Just one sack. Guys like Antoine Delorier were struggling to get into the backfield. We hyped him up on Q's Countdown about 6 hours ago, and flash forward, he didn't really have the day that I think a lot of people were expecting. So there's certain guys on the defensive side for Syracuse that need to step up.
But something else that we hyped up on Q's Countdown was the SMU pass blocking unit, right? The SMU pass blocking unit is what we hyped up on Q's Countdown, rightfully so. One sack allowed. They were the highest graded PFF pass blocking O-line in the entire country. They show that today.
Prior to the game, SMU quarterback Kevin Jennings had consistently been throwing for over 250 yards, and today the redshirt junior carried that over, hanging up over 280 yards in the air. But that is not even the most impressive mark. How about a career-high 4 touchdown passes for the signal caller? And with that, he is our Orange Press Pass player of the game. Who else would you give it to when you have stats like that? And when we come back here on Orange Press Pass, Ben and Milo head over to the panic meter to weigh their concerns after another damaging defeat for the Orange. That is next. Don't go anywhere.
Come on, it's not that hard.
My big man fingers are having a problem with these little tiny buttons.
Whoa, watch it there. Your blood pressure's gonna go through the roof.
Tell me about it. I'm trying to learn how to get it down. Instead, it keeps going up.
High blood pressure can increase the risk for heart attack or stroke. Learn how to keep yours at a healthy range.
Ever hear a voice command? Just say text barbershop to 97779.
That's not what I said.
Just give me that. Now my blood pressure's up.
Life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome. Prediabetes does. 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes, but with early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. And you can change the outcome. Take the 1-minute prediabetes risk test today. Go to doihaveprediabetes.org.
Welcome back to Orange Press Pass. AJ Myers alongside Milo, Hoffman, and Ben Chadwick. And guys, it's time to panic. It is not a good time right now for Syracuse. Consecutive losses. The first time this has ever happened under Fran Brown today. And I think the biggest thing that's concerning is this offense. We've really harped on how poor Ricky Collins was once again. But it's not just Ricky Collins who's controlling this offense. He has an offensive coordinator. Milo, how concerned are you about him?
Yeah, you know, I think Jeff Nixon, sure, you could get on him. He's been overall pretty good with Syracuse so far. But this is Ricky Collins, right, Ben? This is Ricky Collins' fault because you saw what Jeff Nixon did with guys like Steve Angeli, with guys like Kyle McCord. If he has a decent quarterback, he can go out there and drop some really nifty plays for Syracuse's offense. But when Collins is not throwing the ball accurately like he is against Duke and like he did today against SMU, there's only so much that you can put on Jeff Nixon. You got to have a quarterback who's actually able to throw the ball accurately to receivers down the sideline and quick check check down passes to guys like Will Nixon and Yasin Willis. Ricky Collins is just, you can't do that, and you can't blame it on Jeff Nixon.
Well, you can't blame it on Ricky Collins, especially though, because he's the backup quarterback, right? And Jeff Nixon knew that. Jeff Nixon knew how bad Ricky Collins was. They had Angeli. That's the reason they brought in Angeli, because they watched Ricky Collins in practice. This is on Jeff Nixon. It absolutely is. In those first few games, go ahead.
I don't understand how it is though, because Ricky Collins, of course, sure he's the backup quarterback, but there's a reason he was the backup quarterback. You can't put it on Jeff Nixon because we didn't expect this from Ricky Collins.
Well,
right?
You put it on Jeff Nixon because they should have been running the ball. First off, they should have been running the ball more with Steve Angeli as the quarterback. Against Duke, they absolutely should have been running the ball more so you could set up and hide your quarterback. I know that sounds insane. You got to hide how bad Ricky Collins is at the game of football. That's what Jeff Nixon should have done in that game against Duke. He did not, and that's why today looked the way it did.
All right, Ben. So should Jeff Nixon run the ball more? Are we still not seeing enough of this running game?
I would say he missed his chance, is what I'm trying to say. I would say that he missed his chance to do it against Duke, where he could hide the quarterback. Now, since he showed everyone this is what Ricky Collins is, this is how bad he is, and now SMU was able to key in on the run. So now the rest of the offense for the rest of the season is kind of a wash.
And it doesn't help that Justice Ross Simmons is now injured. I mean,
Also
who knows how long Justice Ross Simmons is going to be out. If he's going to be out, we don't know. But that doesn't help the case for the run game because now teams are going to expect it.
Milo, would you have the confidence, though, if Nixon flipped it to run the ball, would you have the confidence in SU's running game?
I mean, I think Yasin Willis is a big guy. You know, he can get the job done. He's shown that against Tennessee. He was the star, right? People expected Yasin Willis to continue that momentum as the season has gone along, but he averaged under 3 rushing yards today. I know it's a lot on the offensive line. I think if you give Yasin Willis enough chances, he will take advantage, but I don't know, sort of mediocre on that front.
So Syracuse, they got a bye week now, so there's some time to regroup, but after that, the schedule really heats up. They're sitting at 3-3, Ben. Can they make a bowl game when it's all said and done?
Are you serious right now, AJ? That's not a joke.
You gotta believe, right? You gotta believe. Come on.
They are not making a bowl game. I hate to break it to everyone here. They are not making a bowl game. I see maybe 3 more winnable games. I'm not going to say they're going to win 3 games. I see 3 more winnable games. I can guarantee 4 more losses. Absolutely. I mean, easiest thing I can tell you right now. They're losing to Georgia Tech. They're losing to Miami. They're losing to Notre Dame. And they just lost to SMU as well. This team is not making a bowl game. They're not even going to come close, Milo.
I agree with you. As much as I want to disagree with you, I think Syracuse has no shot of making a bowl game. You mentioned 3 possible winnable games for Syracuse. And sure, maybe they can get it done. But with Ricky Collins at the quarterback position, I just don't see that happening. What's the most important position on the football field and maybe arguably in sports? Well, it's the quarterback. And Syracuse just simply does not have a good quarterback. Maybe you win against Pittsburgh. Maybe you win against North Carolina. Maybe you pick out a win against Boston College. That would be enough. But I just don't see the consistency for SU to get it done. And I think they're going to drop at least one of those games against those winnable opponents.
Well, Milo, I'm not too good at math, but 3 50-50 possibilities doesn't usually add up to all 3 of those things happening. So, yeah, Syracuse is not making a bowl game, AJ.
No bowl game. Oh boy, really putting the Syracuse fans, getting all their faith going away. But we're looking back here at this SMU game, and in a blowout, it's hard to find a turning point. We're not going to go here. On 4th and goal, Fran Brown, still a 0-0 game. He opts to go for it instead of just taking the simple points to make it a 3-0 game. I get that you're on the road, but Coach Brown would end up going for it 5 more times in this game on 4th down. They would just convert 2 of those times. Everyone knows I have some Eagles fandom. I think Syracuse was trying to do a tush push here. It was giving tush push in a way. It was unsuccessful, and really Fran Brown would not have any luck on 4th down throughout this entire game. It proved to be costly, and one of the reasons why Syracuse fell to SMU 31-18. We're almost done here on Orange Press Pass, but when we come back, Ben and Milo, they got more to say. They're going to sound off. You won't want to miss that. That is on the other side. Don't go anywhere.
Well, Thomas, you've got pre-diabetes. But with more exercise and a change in diet, it can be reversed.
I've tried exercising. It just makes me hungry for bacon.
I love bacon, too. And who really likes to exercise?
Not me.
Me neither.
Nobody. So we're good?
What? Oh, you still have pre-diabetes. Big time.
Welcome back into our Citrus TV studios for Orange Press Pass, recapping Syracuse and SMU. AJ Myers joined alongside Milo, Hoffman, and Ben Chadwick. And it's been a long day here at Citrus TV. We started early in the afternoon for Q's Countdown, and the three of us, we had some predictions. Oh, look at that, guys. Wow. Look at, that's what we want to see, still at the top of the standings.
I mean, this is exactly what you want to see, AJ. I mean, it's also what you want to see Milo Hoffman there at the top. But we're a team. We're a team.
Milo,
in
we
the
are
end.
a team.
We are a team. I mean, I guess Ben and I are tied, actually.
I was going to say,
with a -6 differential.
Can we not go alphabetical here? Am I not at the top because of alphabetical? Just to give me a little something to build off of, right?
I'm not loving my differential, though. -16.
-16.
That could come back to haunt me. We may not have another football prediction, so it may be a basketball that we're predicting next.
You're still in third place, though, AJ,
yes,
right? I mean,
know.
that's all that matters.
Well,
You're in the
Milo,
top
we're
three.
all in first.
We're all in first.
Come on, where's
this CC unit.
Where's
this
that
OPP
team
unit.
bonding? Syracuse has a team. They got a tough schedule after this bye week. It does not get any easier for the Orange, and it will continue to be a struggle no matter who Syracuse is playing. It starts with Pittsburgh at home on the 18th.
And Pittsburgh is a team that looked pretty solid today in their win, right? They had a big 40-point win, I believe. So that's going to be a tough game. At number 17, Georgia Tech can almost chalk that up as a loss. At number 3, Miami can chalk that up as a loss. And you play North Carolina, a team that has looked awful so far this season. You want to know who else has looked awful, though? Syracuse football.
Yeah, I mean, North Carolina is really the only winnable game there, I think, for Syracuse. Number 3, Miami, although they haven't gotten started in ACC play just yet, they're one of the best teams in the nation.
Well, our analysts have had plenty to say today on this Syracuse team. It has not been a good outing for the Orange, but they've still got some final thoughts to get in, and they're going to sound off. Starting with Milo, what you got?
Watching Ricky Collins today reminded me of myself doing laundry. Sometimes I'm on it, I set at a time, and I stick to my plan, follow through, and I have clean clothes. Sometimes Ricky Collins looks like the 4-star recruit that he was, darting throws down the seams of the field on time and accurately. But then there are the days when I wait, and I wait some more, and I have to live with, well, dirty clothes. It's not comfortable and no fun. And you could also say the same about Collins. There were stretches in this game against SMU and against Duke when SU's QB just looked lost. His accuracy wasn't there, missing wide open receivers on what should be easy completions. So my ask of Ricky Collins is to be consistent, be on time, be like me on a day when I'm doing my laundry.
Well, Milo, I'm glad that we now have an explanation for the stench here in our Citrus TV studios, but let me set the scene. Or instead, let me talk about Ricky Collins as a whole and the Syracuse team as a whole. Things are not looking pretty for SU whatsoever. They really are not. Don't let the final score fool you, because this was not a close game. If you watched this game, we were watching it right here in our Citrus TV studios, and it did not look pretty whatsoever. Sure, it was a 13-point loss, but Syracuse was the weaker team throughout the entire game. SMU was clearly the better team, and just because SMU didn't take advantage of the Syracuse mistakes like Duke was able to last week, doesn't mean that Syracuse was any better. There's still a lot to worry about with this Syracuse football team on the offensive side, on the defensive side, and that goes for the coaches, that goes for the players. We might go all the way up to the management as well. Things are not looking pretty for Syracuse moving forward.
I'm still trying to figure out if Milo does his laundry or if he's never done his laundry. But at least I know we have another Orange Press Pass. Syracuse against Pitt. Guys, this is going to be a game the Orange are going to have to get at home.
Yeah, Ben was talking about it. Pitt has looked a lot better as of late, so maybe a winnable game for Syracuse. I would have that in one of the 3 games that Syracuse could potentially win. But Pittsburgh 3-2, averaging over 38 points per game. It's going to be a tough challenge.
That's what I wanted to bring up. We saw the Syracuse defense today, and we saw the Syracuse defense against Duke, and they're going to face a Pitt squad that averages over 38 points per game. I'm curious at how this is going to go, AJ.
Yeah, as you guys mentioned, Pitt just changed their quarterback as well, so that should be an interesting one. It was a marathon day here at our Citrus TV studios. We appreciate you for sticking by. For AJ Myers, Milo Hoffman, and Ben Chadwick, that'll do it for us here at Citrus TV. Syracuse falls to SMU.